President Trump is leading in recent polls in Texas, but it has been closer than usual. So the Biden campaign, hoping to pull off the first win by a Democrat at the top of the ticket here since 1976, is planning more than $6 million in TV ads in the final weeks of the campaign. Their biggest spend in the state, right here in DFW. In contrast, USA Today reports that the president is not planning any commercial buys here right now because his campaign says simply they believe this is Trump country. Politico has published this document from the Advertising Analytics, which expects about $25 million total to be spent on election spots in Texas this year. That's a decent chunk of money, but it pales in comparison to what's being laid out in the big battlegrounds like Florida and Pennsylvania. Finally, people placing wagers on this political gambling site firmly believe that Trump will take Texas, but overall, the betting money right now says that Biden will win the presidency and that Democrats take the Senate and keep the House as well. This election is going to produce winners and losers in terms of power and money. Follow me at Jason Wheeler TV to stay right on the money.